Brandon out of Houston, Texas. Get it off your chest, Brandon. Thanks for calling.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great. How you doing, man?
All is well.
Hey, I saw you got your Coon Award last night from Tariq Nasheed.
Amazing.
Man, that dude is silly, man. Yeah, so real quick, I wanted to mention I've been noticing that a lot of these, I think Tariq Nasheed calls himself a racial, man, I can't remember some weird title. He gave himself a strategist,
yes.
Anti-racist strategist. But I've been noticing a lot of these people they identify with, it seems like Muslim names or Arab names.
Yeah.
They say that they changed their name from the name of their slave name. But what I realize is that more Arabs took slaves to South Africa, to the Middle East, and to West Africa than slaves got brought to America. So I'm just wondering why they have so much love and try to identify with Muslims who have an evil, hateful doctrine. I just don't understand it, and I'm wondering what that's about.
It's about hating white people. Well, first, they hate their mothers first and their failing fathers.
Right.
And instead of forgiving, they have been told that the hatred is the white man who's keeping them down. So when you're an angry person, I'm telling you, Brandon, one thing I know for sure, and without a doubt, anyone who has anger is blind. And you cannot see or believe the truth if you have one iota of anger. And
wow.
So the children of the lie, the race hustlers, the godless black preachers and others are keeping black people in darkness by telling them that white people hate them, white people are trying to keep them down. And in that darkness, they believe that lie. And that's why some of them are changing their names, and because they can't see what the problem is. They don't really understand that their fallen state started in the homes, and they're being kept down by hating the white man. And it's interesting in that there are some black people changing their names to so-called African names, but yet there are foreigners coming into our country, and they're changing their first names at least to American names. Isn't that crazy?
Man, no sense. I believe what you're saying. When you have that anger, you are blind to the truth.
Yes.
And no matter if it's right in front of you, you don't realize how silly and foolish what you do and say is. It's amazing. It's really wild.
I see it all the time. I know people who literally read the Bible, lift up holy hands, go to church night and day, and yet they have that anger and nothing is really changing. And instead of admitting that they are not truly changing, that they still have the same spirit that they had prior to learning about God, they make up excuses about their failings. They don't admit that they're wrong. They make up excuses.
Yeah, I totally understand. I was that way. This past year, I went head on toward my anger. It was a problem for me for a long time. A lot of what you said resonated. I went and talked to my mother. My father's dead, unfortunately. I would have liked the opportunity to go and speak with him, but I made amends between, my issues there. But I went directly to my mother and forgave her for a lot of what she did. Unconsciously, I don't think she was evil and doing it on purpose, but she did a lot of wrong in how she instilled a lot of resentment in us toward our father.
Yes.
And by forgiving her, man, I'm telling you, like a snap of a finger, I felt different.
Yes.
It was like a magic. It was like I said, a magic spell, and something inside me in the snap of a finger changed. I was able to see things clearly. I know this may sound crazy, but it is true, man. It is 100% true.
I totally understand that. I had the same issue, but when I went and forgave my mother, it was the hardest thing in the world to do. I was 38 years old, and I realized that the reason I had the fear of her was because when you resent someone, you're afraid of them. They control you, and you're afraid to stand up to them. And if you stand up to them, you do it in the wrong way. But when I went and forgave her, I didn't ask her to forgive me. I forgave her for what she done.
Exactly.
And in that very moment, God forgave me and set me free. A lot of people are afraid to go to their mothers because they don't know how she's going to react to it. How old are you, Brendan?
You know, I'm 35, so I read that story you just told in the antidote. And
Hold on, Brendan. Hold on, Brendan.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me take a quick break. 888-77 Jesse, back in a moment. All right, folks, welcome back. Check out my nonprofit organization, Bond, the Brotherhood Organization of a New Destiny. We are rebuilding the family by rebuilding the man. 27 years of it. And if the Lord is willing and the creek don't rise, next month, February 2018, it will be 28 years of rebuilding families, bringing back the order of God. God in Christ, Christ in man, man over woman, woman over children. Nothing else going to work but that order. If you think it is, you're blind and can't see. All right? We tutor, we counsel. The most important thing is we show these guys how to overcome anger. They have to go and forgive their failing parents, especially their mothers. Most guys, it doesn't matter what race you're in, what culture you're a part of, what color you are. Most guys are afraid to deal with their mothers. It's much easier to go to the father because the father really is not the problem. The father is the problem in that he's weak because he loved the woman more than he loved God. He doesn't love her, he hates her. And because they hate their mother, most men hate women because they hate their mothers, and that spirit in their mothers has made a home in them. And then they end up with women just like mama, and they can't handle her. And so they either go very violent, or they go cheat, or they give up and just stay there, but don't function. Just go to work and let whatever happen, happen. And it's not going to change until they forgive their mothers so that God can forgive them and take that identity, the mother spirit away and replace it with their original spirit, themselves. And so what you hear these guys say, oh, my mother is so wonderful. You hear black guys doing it all the time. I want to thank my mother, and then I want to thank God. They better thank mama before they thank God. All right? And the reason for that is that they are angry at their mothers, and it's hard to face it because you become controlled, you become subject to whomever you're angry at. It's a mess. But when you go to them and apologize for resenting them, a lot of mothers don't realize what they're doing. Some do. They love that control. But when you go to them and say, hey, mother, I'm sorry for resenting you for what you've done to me. It was wrong, but I'm wrong for resenting you for it because I have become like you. You become like who you're angry at. And this is for men and women of all races. And so when you say, I'm sorry for hating you, because anger is judgment, judgment is pride, pride is playing God. And when you do that, you're separated from God. And Satan is your father, and you're in a mess, right? But when you say, hey, I'm sorry, and God doesn't tell you to go and ask for forgiveness. He said, go and forgive. Whoever said, go and ask for forgiveness, are blind. They made that up. It's a setup. He said, go and forgive, and he will forgive you. So we tell these guys, show them how to go and forgive their mothers. When they do it, they're free. And then they can live. Let me go quick back to Brandon. Brandon, thank you for holding. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Yeah, just to bring my comment to a close, I related and read in the antidote where when you went and approached your mother as a grown man in your 30s, same as me, it was one of the scariest things you ever did. For me, it was like I was about to go talk to God himself. I was terrified. And that alone showed me something in itself because I had put my mama in this category of God.
Yeah.
And that's not okay. So when I went and spoke to her, right when I opened my mouth, all my fear went away. My body stopped. My body was hot. My body felt better. And you know what? if you just go and forgive her without expecting anything,
Yes.
she's liable to apologize and give you everything you need. But that's not why you should go, because just forgiving someone is good for you. And I realized that it changed my whole life, man.
Wow.
Me and my girlfriend used to live together. I moved away from her. Months went past. I asked her to marry me.
Wow.
I went back to school. I got my full-time job, came back. I stopped cursing. I mean, everything. It was like everything good happened to me, man. It was crazy.
And man, you're blessed. And stay on that course. You haven't seen anything yet. It get better
Wow.
now, because by forgiving your mother and your father, you have returned to your earthly father, and through him you return to God. And I tell people all the time, you would never ever have a personal relationship or know God the way that you know your father until you forgive your parents. It's just not going to happen.
I see it now. I really do. And it's real. I just wanted to say this, and whoever's listening, this is really is a real thing. You say it all the time, and you drill it home, but it's true, man. It's true.
Well, God bless you, Brandon. You're a blessed man. You're a son of God,
you, sir.
And you're on your way. I really, really appreciate hearing this. Thank you, buddy.
Yeah, likewise. Have a good day, man.
All right. Check out The Antidote, my book, The Antidote, Healing America from the Poison of Hate, Blame, and Victimhood.